Direct News TV. October 14, 2023. Israel-Hamas Live News. Iran tells Israel to stop before it's too late. Iran has warned Israel to immediately halt its war crimes against Gaza or it could face a huge earthquake of resistance. More than 320 Palestinians have been killed in the past 24 hours, including many women and children killed in Israeli air raids on convoys fleeing Gaza City, according to health officials. The rising toll comes as Israel continues bombing Gaza a day after telling 1.1 million residents to head south ahead of a looming ground offensive following Hamas's attack inside Israel last week. At least 2,215 Palestinians have been killed and 8,714 wounded in Israeli air attacks on Gaza. The number of people killed in Israel has reached 1,300, with more than 3,400 wounded. In the occupied West Bank, the number of Palestinians killed by Israeli fire in the past week has topped 50. More than 1,000 have been wounded and hundreds arrested. Palestinians take refuge in hospital amid Israeli shelling. Fatima El-Alayan sits in her wheelchair, surrounded by her family and hundreds of other people in Shifa Hospital. The 80-year-old grandmother's deeply lined face is resigned. Displacement is not a new experience for her but, she says, this time feels somehow worse than the Nakba she lived through in 1948. "We don't have any food," Fatima said. "This is far harder than what I remember from 1948. The Israelis keep killing children. Little chance of wider Middle East war breaking out," analyst Sultan Barakat, a researcher in public policy at Qatar's Hamad bin Khalifa University, says he sees little chance of a wider Middle East war breaking out as Israel pounds Gaza with airstrikes and prepares a ground invasion. The main threat is Iran, but had Tehran really harbored the objective of harming Israel, it would have attacked in the first 24 hours after the Hamas incursion. That's when Israel was at its weakest, confused it did not know what was going. That was the opportunity to unleash Hezbollah to do something about it, Barakat told Al Jazeera. Iran is not going to go with direct confrontation and all-out war with Israel for many reasons based on its domestic calculations. But it may continue to act as spoilers, which it has done in the past in Middle East conflicts. They will do small measures here and there. This is why I think Saudi Arabia needs to take the lead, to assert itself as the moral leader in the Middle East at this moment. Israel threatens significant ground operations. In addition to the earlier statement threatening an operation by air, sea, and land, the Israeli army has said its forces were ready to implement a wide range of operational offensive plans. It added its forces were deployed across the country, increasing operational readiness for the next stages of the war, with an emphasis on significant ground operations. Went through hell, U.S. citizen stranded at Egypt border as Israelis leave. Al Jazeera spoke to a U.S. citizen among a group of dual nationals in Gaza's Rafah seeking to cross into Egypt. They said they were advised to travel to the crossing by their governments, but have been unable to cross. "I am a U.S. citizen, my country told me to come here. We went through hell coming through here. It's like a war zone coming from the middle of Gaza to the border. And now we're going home empty-handed. We don't know what's going on, why we were told to come and when are we going to get out of here. It's hopeless. My message is to Secretary Blinken, if we were Israelis, would this happen to us? We're standing here, we don't know what's going to happen. One single shell could kill everybody standing here. My other message is to President Biden. We are people. We bleed. Our blood is red, not black, not purple. We bleed just like they bleed. And I ask him, if one of your kids in your family did something bad, would you punish the whole family? This is like punishing Palestinians for living in Palestine, period. Israel warns Lebanon's Hezbollah to remain out of Gaza war. The National Security Advisor to Netanyahu has warned Hezbollah not to be drawn in Israel's war in Gaza. "We hope Hezbollah won't, de facto, bring about the destruction of Lebanon, because if there is a war there the result will be no less," Sachi Hanegbi said during a televised briefing. Israel was focusing on the war in Gaza, Hanegbi said, and trying not to be drawn into a two-front war. He also argued that the more limited fighting across the Lebanese border showed Hezbollah was staying under the escalation threshold. Israel's army says preparing operation by air, sea and land. Israel's military has said it is preparing to expand the attack in Gaza, hinting at a long-expected land incursion of the enclave. In a statement, the military said it was planning a wide range of offensive operation, including coordinated attack from the air, sea and land. Various battalions and army forces are deployed throughout Israel in preparation for raising the level of readiness and in preparation for the next stages of the war, especially the large ground operation, the military said. Palestinian teen in occupied West Bank succumbs to wounds. A Palestinian teenager succumbed to wounds sustained on Sunday, the health ministry says. Mohammed Edwin, 16, was shot by Israeli forces in Tulkarem, northwest in the occupied West Bank. More than 50 Palestinians have been killed in the occupied West Bank since October 7 as Israeli army and settler violence intensifies. Israel's far-right National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir announced earlier this week 10,000 assault rifles will be distributed to those living in illegal settlements in the occupied West Bank. Aid flights continue arriving in Egypt, with nowhere to go. At least 2 aid flights, from Turkey and the WHO, have landed at Egypt's Al Arish airport near the Gaza border today. That brings the total number of planes that have arrived this week carrying humanitarian relief for Gaza to at least 5, according to Reuters news agency, which cites a Red Cross official and an aid volunteer. But that aid has been unable to be brought into the besieged enclave, with an agreement on humanitarian access remaining elusive. WHO Chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus has warned every hour these supplies remain on the Egyptian side of the border, more girls and boys, women and men, especially those vulnerable or disabled, will die. 2 civilians killed in Israel shelling of Lebanese village, Mayor. Israeli shelling in the southern village of Sheba has killed 2 Lebanese civilians. A man and his wife have been killed in their home by Israeli shelling, Mayor Mohammed Harb was quoted as saying. The deaths come one day after Israeli shelling in southern Lebanon killed 1 journalist, wounded 6 others. Israel has traded fire with Hezbollah and allied Palestinian factions in Lebanon on a near-daily basis since Sunday, although the tit-for-tat attacks have so far remained limited. Photos: Palestinians rushed to Deir el-Balah hospital following Israeli airstrike. Palestinians wounded in Israeli airstrikes on Deir el-Balah city have been taken to Al-Aqsa Hospital. At least 20 people were killed by Israeli shelling of a home in the area in the Gaza Strip, according to the Interior Ministry. UN aid chief says humanity is failing. Martin Griffiths, in his latest statement on the conflict, reflected on a dreadful week in which humanity is failing. I fear the worst is yet come, he said, adding in Gaza, there is no power, no water and no fuel, food supplies were running low, hospitals are running our medicine, and morgues are overflowing. The humanitarian situation in Gaza, already critical, is fast becoming untenable, he said. He also warned of rising violence in the West Bank and the risk of escalation between Israel and Lebanon. Hamas defiant in face of imminent Israel attack on Gaza. More from Haniyeh. Hamas has always been keen not to target civilians despite everything done by the Zionist regime. Hamas is a freedom movement that adhere to these ethics. Hamas chief says Palestinians will never leave Gaza. Hamas chief Ismail Haniyeh has just begun a televised address, accusing Israel of committing genocide in the Gaza Strip. Our enemy is doing this with the U.S. administration and some European countries, he said. The people of Gaza are staying in their land. They will never leave Gaza or flee to Egypt, he added. I salute the people of Gaza who are facing the barbaric machine of the Zionist machine. They are committed to their lands. Iran, Israel must stop war crimes before it's too late. Iran demanded that Israel to stop its attacks on Gaza, warning the war could expand to other parts of the Middle East if Hezbollah joins the battle, adding Israel may suffer a huge earthquake. Iranian Foreign Minister Hossein Amir-Abdollahian told reporters in Beirut that Lebanon's Hezbollah group has taken all the scenarios of a war into consideration, and Israel should stop its attacks on Gaza immediately. Amir-Abdollahian said he met Hezbollah leader Sayed Hassan Nasrallah. "I know about the scenarios that Hezbollah has put in place. Any step the resistance, Hezbollah, will take will cause a huge earthquake in the Zionist entity," he said. "I want to warn the war criminals and those who support this entity before it's too late to stop the crimes against civilians in Gaza, because it might be too late in few hours. Ground invasion of Gaza expected soon. We've been witnessing heavy bombardment of the northern Gaza Strip the last couple of hours. It's impossible to call out when the Israeli army is going to go in, but the feeling is certainly that they are in position, that it is going to be soon. My name is Kingsley. Please like, share, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be the first to be notified whenever we post. You won't regret it.